Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode we had the draft in the re-sign stage, and it was a very successful draft for us yet again. We drafted more defensemen, and our defensive prospect pool is probably one of the best I've ever put together. As you can see here, we got Wall still, we have Conley, Martinez. We drafted Conley just last episode. He's going to be probably a pretty good defenseman for us for multiple years. And then we also have like Bluegis, who's still young. He's only 21. We got Brody. We got Gugnot. We signed Pedersen like last off season. So like our defensive prospect pool is looking really good. Like we probably will run with like Wall, Conley, Martinez, Bluegis, and then Brody and Pedersen on our team. And then Malik would be depth. And then I think we'll probably send Gugnot back to the QMJHL just for 1 year. But our defensive prospect pool is just looking really good. Like, we're not going to even sign any defensemen in this episode. And then goalie-wise, there is our goaltending, which looks pretty good going into next year, as long as those goalies continue to grow. And our forward core right now is not great. We are going to have to sign a few forwards, but the good thing is the computers are letting go of some weird-ass free agents. So we are going to pick up some other people's scraps and use them to build this team to main even better for next season. So anyways, we have a few comments I'd like to go over before we make our free agent signings. So the first one is from Kagorodov. He says, absolutely sign that top 6 playmaker and the low league grinder. Free stuff is always welcome. He says Houghton and Heavy Bones are the ones he means. So we're definitely going to sign those guys because as I was just talking about, there is guys that are for some reason UFAs that are really young that teams are not re-signing. I don't know what the case is. If just they for some reason would rather run with some veterans. But if we go down to Houghton, which I think, what overall was he? I think he was like a 79, wasn't he? Where are you, Houghton? The only problem is finding these guys. Oh, there he is. He's a medium top 6 forward prospect. He's only 22 years old and he's a UFA because for some reason the Los Angeles Kings decided they'd drop him down to free agency, and he actually has some pretty solid stats. His plus minus isn't great, but I think it could be improved a lot once he starts growing. And 30 points last year as a 22-year-old or 21-year-old is pretty good. So yeah, UC Houghton is definitely going to be one of our signings. So I'll actually already offer him a contract while I am going through these comments. So we will give Houghton a 3-year deal. He'll be still an RFA by the end of it, and we'll just give him exactly what he wants. No other teams are interested in him, which is kind of weird as well. And then he also mentioned Heavy Bullen, who I think he's a winger if I'm not mistaken. I remember seeing him. Let's actually sort by potential because it'll be able to find him easier. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, there he is. Low elite grinder, 77 overall. He's going to be a good fit probably for our 4th line. Actually, he might fit our top 6 lines, but I don't know if I'm going to play a grinder on the top 6, but we are going to sign him up. Give him a 2-year deal, 1.4. That is fine with me. So those are 2 of our signings. Then we have a comment from Kevin Jimina. He says it would be interesting if Alfredson and Yager are on the same team. Now, I don't know if we're going to sign Alfredson and Yager. The main reason is I'd like to get some younger guys into our team. And yeah, I don't know. We could use them potentially because I did write down we need 4 forwards and 2 depth forwards. So maybe I'll bring one in as a forward for us. That way we get at least a veteran onto our team. But the other ones I'm probably not going to bring in. So thanks for that comment, Kevin. We also have a comment from HawksFan88. He says Bork and Houghton are guys that you should definitely sign. So Houghton we just offered to. And then he said Bork, which is this guy. He's also a top 6 forward prospect. He's a 23-year-old sniper. For some reason, the team that drafted him, which was the Blue Jackets at 15th overall, decided just to let him walk to free agency. And as you can see, he has like a 5-star shooting attribute, which is really crazy. So we're going to bring him in on a multiple year deal as well, I think. Give him 3 years and give him what he wants for the 3 years. So those 3 signings alone are going to help us a lot in terms of rebuilding this team into being a very young and probably competitive team, I would say. So thank you for those comments, guys. So those are 3 of our signings. We do need to make a 4th signing, and we also need to pick up 2 depth forwards because we're not going to be making any defensive signings. So we need to go back to sort this by overall. So since Kevin recommended Alfredson or Yager, he said I could go with one of the two of those guys. So Yager's asking for a decent chunk. Does he fit our system? No, he doesn't really. What about Alfredson? Alfredson is asking for a lot of money. Alfredson might only fit our penalty kill. Yeah, I don't know about bringing any of those guys in, just because they might not fit our scheme to an extent. Like, it would be good to have a veteran to play with, like, some of these young guys, but I don't know if those two guys are the type of player we need to bring in. So, if we look at our contracts that we just sent out, what position do we need to technically sign? Where is it? Approached. So we offered a center, another right winger. We could probably offer another right winger or left winger. So if we go by all skaters here, and we go by right wingers, let's see who's not too old. I mean, Jamie Langenbrunner might be interesting if he fits our team. He does fit our top 6. How was Jamie Langenbrunner last year? 23 goals, 51 points. His point total is not fantastic, but he is a plus almost every single season except for the second year in New Jersey. Yeah, you know what? We're going to sign Jamie Langenbrunner for 1 year. He's going to be our other forward option to play with a lot of these young guys. Hopefully he signs with us. And then we need 2 depth forwards, so let's go by forwards again and sort this by overall. And we'll go down to the depth forwards and just sign 2 random younger guys that could crack into our lineup at some point, I'd say. Damn, Doug Gilmore's still playing at 45 years old. That's pretty crazy. I expected him to retire by now. So we could always just sign like a guy like Adam Mayer, but I don't know about that. I would rather guys actually list as depth options, like maybe this 22-year-old Bobrovsky guy. Yeah, we're definitely going to sign Bobrovsky. He's a depth forward. He's got some decent attributes and actually might fit our third line. So this guy's a decent signing as well. Sign him for 1 year. The best thing is also this guy will become an RFA at the end of this year, so that's also a good option. And Marcel Gotch got dropped by Europe United, it looks like. Yeah, he was just playing in the AHL most of the time. Marcel Gotch. You know what? We're going to sign Gotch as one of our other depth options, and we'll give him a 2-way deal because why not? So those are the contracts we're going to send out. So we send out contracts to Approached, Langenbrunner, Bork, Houghton, Bobrovsky, Gotch, and Heavy Bullen. Hopefully we get all these guys in, because I think our team could actually be a pretty underrated team next season. So let's advance a few days and see if we can get these guys, and then we will take a look at the free agent signings for the first month. Oh, a full roster for Gotch, so we can't get Gotch, unfortunately, or Langenbrunner, or Bork. Why are they all rejecting? Apparently we have a full roster. Do we have way too much players under contract? No, we do not. That makes no sense. How do we have a full roster? I don't understand that. I need to offer those guys contracts. So we only got one of those players, which I think was Houghton. I hope those other guys are still there, because I really want Bork. I don't know why it says we have too much contracts. Because it says 6 contracts that we could still get back. So, okay, we're going to have to try and get those guys again. So if we go to Approached, it doesn't show it there still. That's kind of annoying. So we got to go back by overall, go by centers, and then go down. Oh, actually, we already got Houghton in, right? So we need technically that right winger that had potential, which was Bork, who is still there, luckily. We'll give him a 1-year deal. Yeah, we'll just give him a 1-year deal. I don't know why it's saying we have not enough contract space, because we don't, or we do have contract space. So we'll offer that contract, and then the other guys that I was mentioning, Heavy Bullen, you will do that. And then who was the other guys again? I said Jamie Langenbrunner, but I'll wait for Langenbrunner for now, because maybe we just won't get Langenbrunner. The other guy, oh yeah, it was Bobrovsky, right? Yeah, I think it was Bobrovsky. Where are you, Bobrovsky? Oh, there he is. 22-year-old. Send him an offer. Hopefully we can get these guys, because I don't know why it's trying to tell me that you don't have the contract space. Like, if I do have the like, see, it says I have a full roster. That makes no sense. Because I do have the space. So we're going to have to trade away somebody, I guess, just to free up roster room. So we're going to look at find trade. And we are going to go to defenseman. And, oh yeah, it's because we have guys qualified still. That's right. If we go to the contracts that are not signed yet, the RFAs, we are going to just drop some of these guys, I think. Oh yeah, it's because they're qualified. Damn it. Yeah, we're going to have to trade away some people. Because those guys are just qualified, which means technically we are actually at how much contracts? We are technically at 6 there, 7 more contracts, which would put us at the exact 50 out of 50. So that's why we can't sign anybody. Man, I wish I would have noticed that earlier. So we are going to have to trade away some people. So let's just go to the trade finder and see what we could trade away. So I'll probably trade away Thomas Malik, I think. So if we go by overall, so maybe that's actually why teams are running into problems. That could be. Find trade, no trades found. Are you kidding me? I'll just trade Malik for like a 4th round pick if somebody wants to do that. Yeah, this is actually kind of annoying. I wonder if that's what the other teams ran into. I feel like it is. Let's just trade him to Anaheim. I don't really care where I trade Thomas Malik. And we will take back a 4th round pick if that actually works, which I don't know if it will. It's rejected. Okay, we could take a 5th rounder. And yeah, that will probably be fine. That's still rejected. Are you kidding me? This is going to be actually really annoying. Like, I really want those young guys so bad, but these teams are not willing to even give the 6th round pick for Thomas Malik. 7th rounder? What if I throw in a 7th rounder of my own? I do have a lot of extra picks, so Thomas Malik in a 7th for a 7th, and that's still rejected. What the heck is going on with this game? Maybe I should not have qualified any of those guys. Skaters matching block. It's all these young guys. That is really annoying. Like, I honestly don't know what to do. Rookie skaters, go down here. Can I just trade away like a bunch of AHL guys? Yeah, let's just try to trade away like a bunch of AHL guys that don't have the potential really, or won't reach the potential. Like, let's trade these 2 guys for a pick. Because I do not need them, I don't think. We'll just take a 7th round pick back. Actually, no, that looks too kind of dumb. Can I get a 4th rounder for these 2? Probably. That one's accepted. So there's 2 contracts out. Which means we could get Bork and Heavy Bullen. And then I still need to get whoever the other one was, which is Bobrovsky. So we need to trade 1 more player, I think, at least. Which in that case, do we have too much defensemen in the AHL? I don't think so. We could just trade Steen since he's a 7th D. Any teams actually want Steen? Man, this is a lot more work than I thought it would be just to sign like some younger guys, but we have way too much contracts. So nobody wants Steen, unfortunately. Probably because he only has 7th D potential. I don't want to trade Pedersen, but I could always. There is teams interested in Ronning, so I could just trade Ronning to Vancouver for the memes and take back a 7th. See if that works. A low 7th D for a 7th round pick is accepted. There you go. Okay, perfect. So now we should be able to sign those guys. Hopefully they are still available, because it is kind of annoying how I actually had to trade away players to get these guys in. Okay, so let's go to those UFAs again and go to the right wingers and go by potential. Bork is still there. That is good news. We'll sign him for 1 year for now. I'll probably end up giving these guys longer deals at some point. Sign Heavy Bullen, and then the other one was Bobrovsky. And those are the only signings we're going to make, is just signing these young guys, I guess. And there is Bobrovsky. So we should be able to get those 3 guys. That would put us at 44 contracts. Let me just make sure before we actually go to a few days ahead. 44 contracts. And then if we add all our RFAs, we do have 7 RFAs. So we technically need to probably trade away somebody else. Which in this case, I think... yeah, we got to trade away somebody else. Just to make sure. Because I want to get all these guys in and I want to start the sim to next season. And then all those guys we probably will just give like 2-way deals to. So we need to trade away one more player to make up some more room. And I think that player has got to be maybe who has not really much potential. It's got to be somebody under contract, which in this case, I think it's got to be Nolan. Low top 6 and he's 70 overall at 22. He's probably not going to pan out. We'll just trade him to Anaheim, and I don't think I could get a 3rd round pick back for somebody like him, but let's try. Nolan for a 3rd. Rejected, okay. Yeah, I thought that was going to be the case. Let's do a different team. Let's do Colorado. And maybe they would be willing to give up their 3rd for him. I doubt it. But let's try, and that is rejected. So I guess we'll take back a 4th and a 5th. Maybe. Or maybe we'll just take back a 4th. Oh, that is accepted. Okay, a 4th and a 5th for Nolan. Not too bad. So there we go. Now we should be able to get those young guys in. Let's advance a few days and see if we get those guys. And then we'll finally take a look at the free agent signings for this month. This episode might be a little bit long just because it takes a while. So it looks like some of our RFAs are accepting, which is good on that front at least. And Bork is accepted. Heavy Bowling goes to Detroit. God damn it. So we lost out on that grinder, unfortunately. Bobrovsky does sign with us. Okay, so what is our roster looking like for the start of next season now? Because we do still have that 1 extra contract space now, I think. So we do have 4. Yeah, we have 4 centers, or 5 centers technically. 6, 7, 8 players. 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so wait, actually if I go in the system... yeah, we could play Clinge technically. So technically we do have 12 forwards, but we don't have great depth. And then our defensive core is fine. So maybe we will still sign one more player. Just for a depth option. Or actually we could just still sign Langenbrunner. Yeah, you know what? We're going to still sign Langenbrunner since we can't get that young guy in. Might as well pick up a veteran that could potentially help us out. So there you go. And let's sim all the way to the end of the month because more than likely we will get Langenbrunner. So let's go to the 31st and then we'll take a look at those free agent signings. More of our RFAs are accepting, which is good news, and Langenbrunner goes back to New Jersey. God damn it. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get another good player. We might be able to still because it seems like a lot of guys are kind of holding out to an extent. See, this guy's a RFA, right? Yeah, he's an RFA. I thought so. We could go after instead, like I said, a veteran would be kind of nice to have. Maybe Adam Deadmarsh. Doesn't put up good numbers though. Mark Parrish. John LeClair's dropped off a cliff and wants a decent amount of money. We could go for somebody like Richard Park. Yeah, you know what? We're going to bring in Richard Park. Why not? Since he's like from South Korea, it would be kind of cool to have a South Korean player. So there you go. We're going to sign Richard Park and continue to simulate. Hopefully we get Richard Park, which we probably should. Yep, there we go. We get Richard Park. And we're almost there that we could finally take a look at some free agent signings. Yeah, I don't know how much of the season we're going to simulate in this episode. Maybe like the first like 2 or 3 months. Just because this episode is probably already running long just because those free agents took a lot longer than I thought. Let's go to those free agent signings and see what happened. See if there was any trades as well. So trading wise, there was a couple trades. Not going to read them really out, but I'll scroll through this so you guys can see them. Some of them are our trades actually, but still. So signing wise, let's see any big signings that I could read out. Our former goalie Nurminen goes to Edmonton. Interesting. If there's anything you guys notice that's kind of cool, let me know as well. Our former player Maltby goes to Vancouver. What else we got here? Mark Parrish to the Rangers, okay. Steve Stales to Carolina. Philippe Boucher to Phoenix. Let's see, any other interesting trades or signings? Brian McCabe to Washington. Stumple to Vancouver. Doug Gilmour signs in Phoenix. Sammy Kapanen also signs in Phoenix. Anything else of note? Bobby Holik signs in Pittsburgh. Adam Denmarsh in New York. Joe Nieuwendyk in Europe. Manny Fernandez in Tampa Bay. Ethan Morrow in St. Louis. Eric Dezay in San Jose. Peter Schaefer goes back to Vancouver where he started his career in real life, so that's kind of neat. Pavel Bure signs a 2-year deal in San Jose. Interesting. He is dropping off, though. And Daniel Alfredson signs with the Ducks. Ew. I don't like that. Because imagine if he was on the other side of the 2007 Stanley Cup Finals. That'd be weird. Anything else? Brendan Shanahan in Carolina, which he technically played for, I guess you could say, because he played for Hartford. David Tanabe in Colorado. Sean Avery signs in Dallas like he was in real life, so that's kind of neat. Adam Foote signs in Toronto, which is kind of gross. And Matt Sundin in New York. Interesting. Jason Blake goes back to the Islanders. Hagman in Calgary, which he played with in real life. Brian Rafalski in LA. Interesting. Jochen Hecht in Minnesota. Matthew Barnaby to New York. Jaromir Jagr signs a 2-year deal in New Jersey, which he played with in real life for a little bit. Yashin signs with Europe, which makes kind of sense. Friesen in St. Louis. What else do we got here? Anything else? Derek Armstrong in Florida. Kirsten Huselius in Columbus, which he played with in real life. Paul Fee signs in Columbus as well. Kevin Weeks in Minnesota. Nedved in Boston. Same with Ruchin. I almost said Rukin for some reason. Patrick Waugh goes back to Minnesota on a 2-year deal. Michael Nylander in Ottawa. Brian Allen goes back to Vancouver. Phillips in Phoenix. And Mike Comrie to Columbus. Randy Robitaille goes back to the Islanders like he played in real life. Heavy Bullen signs in Calgary for a 2-year deal. That's kind of a meme, I guess you could say. Marc-Andre Fleury goes back to San Jose. And that is pretty much it. And JP Dumont to Washington. Okay, so now I'm going to make a quick jump cut just because I would like to get some of the season simulated. So I will see you guys in a second with the edited lines for the upcoming season. Okay guys, so here's what our lineup looks like going into the next season. So we got Malkin, Bergeron, Kovalchuk still. Second line, Park, Kuznetsov, and Bure. The reason is because Kuznetsov jumped up to in 82. Third line, Likachev with Houghton and Bork. And fourth line, Bobrovsky with Frolov and Hossa. So I would say a pretty good forward core with chemistry-wise for the most part. The only problem is we do have a -1 here with adding Thomas Malk there, but I did try and put in Pedersen, and I also tried to put in Gugnaut, who we just drafted, and both of them made it a -3 pairing. So our top 6 pairing is a little bit worrisome, but we could always adjust it throughout the season and see what works best, but it's a little bit iffy there. And our defensive core actually also is not that solid overall, but it does have a lot of potential. And enters our goaltending, Price and Elliott. And then depth-wise, as I was just mentioning, Matteo Clinch is going to be one of our depth options. We could always play him. And then we also have Ulf Pedersen. So not too bad overall-wise. I could always take Frolov out of the lineup if need be, like if he's really badly minus, and throw in Clinch on that fourth line instead, because Clinch could win a lot of draws. But yeah, that's basically what our roster looks like. And then here is the AHL team, in case you just wanted to take a look at that. I might end up calling up Isaiah Edmonds at some point because he does actually fit, well, he doesn't fit our roster, but he is listed as a top 6 defenseman. So we could use him as a defenseman still, or we could try him out as a forward because he does have some good shooting attributes. So that will be up to you guys, I guess, at some point in next episode if we want to ever call him up, because he might be one of those players that we could always bring in and play on our fourth line if we want to. And then maybe he'll develop into being a good top 6 forward, even though he's a defenseman. But anyways, let's start up the season simulation and see how this young team does. We'll probably only sim like 2 months or so, just so we can kind of get a feel for how this young team simulates before we actually get too far in, and then our team is not a playoff team or something like that. Like, I don't expect us to be a playoff team this year necessarily, but at the same time, I hope this young team can get some good development. So let's get this preseason done with, and then we will do 2 months of simulating, so probably till December the 1st, and then just take a look at our player stats and see how good we are doing. But I hope this team could maybe get some wins together and maybe make the playoffs, but like I said, it's not the end of the world if we miss. Because last year we were pretty far out of the playoff spot, and it was just good though to see our young guys getting some production and growth for a year instead of actually making it to the postseason. So 3-4 in the preseason is not too bad. Who led us in points? Kuznetsov with 8 points. I'm pretty excited to see how Kuznetsov does on that second line, because he was playing on like the third and fourth line for his first few years here, and he hasn't really gotten that much ice time, so it should be kind of neat to see what he could do with a little bit more ice time. So let's go to the end of October. Like I said, I think we'll go to December the 1st in this episode just to see if we get any good growth or any good stats from our young guys. Our lineup could always change around a lot, as Isaiah Edmonds actually just got injured with a herniated disc already, so I guess we aren't going to be able to call him up. He gets injured till January the 14th, so he's out for almost half the season. Yikes. So he might be a bit of a fragile offensive defenseman, so maybe we don't want to have him in our lineup. Yikes. Didn't expect him to go down that early into the season and for that long. Okay, game against Buffalo is a 1-0 loss. Game against the Islanders is a loss. We do beat the Penguins, and we do beat the Rangers. We're 5-5, 0-1. That's actually not too bad. For the way our roster looks, I would say that's pretty good. Richard Park has 10 points in 11 games, so I guess the second line must be doing pretty good together. Because I think Richard Park was the second liner for us, right? Or did I have him on the third line? He might have been on the third line. That's pretty solid, I would say, for a pretty young team. Let's go to December the 1st, and then we'll take a look at our player stats and stuff also with the standings, just to see if our team is doing good at offense or defense, or are they struggling at both, that type of thing. But this team's looking pretty good for a young team, especially considering we are running only like an 83 and an 82 goaltender as well. Like, I'm kind of surprised that we're actually simulating this well. But just watch, we're going to go on like a 10-game losing streak eventually. Bykov is back, which is good news for the AHL team since they already had multiple injuries. That means we are going to take out Tunney, I think it was. Actually, no, Bykov was on the second pairing, I think, instead of Garatin. And I will put Garatin up here just because this pairing has really bad chemistry with Edmonds out. It still does, whatever. But yeah, our team is playing pretty solid so far. There's a tie, there's a win, another loss, and the last game is a win. Okay, so not too bad. 14-8, 1-1. For a young team that has like not a lot of NHL caliber players, I would say, that's a pretty good first month. We are second in our division with 30 points. Pretty solid. And Bergeron's been playing pretty good. Let's take a look at our player stats so far, these 24 games in, just so we can kind of get a note of what has been going good for us. So, center-wise, Bergeron is almost point per game, same with Malkin, so the top line must be doing pretty good. And then Houghton, 17 points. That was a really nice pickup. Definitely a really good playmaker. I don't know why the hell the LA Kings decided just to let this guy walk, because he's almost point per game this year, and he's a +8. Really liking that. Kuznetsov, 14 points, so he's not doing fabulous, I would say, but he's still doing pretty good. Definitely going to have a career season because he's on the second line this year instead of like the third or fourth line. And then Frolov has 8 points, and he's only -1, so not too bad for the rookie, the 23-year-old rookie. Left wing-wise, Kovalchuk's almost point per game. Likachev is almost point per game. So after playing with us last season and only putting up 20 points in 56 games, he's almost got that in 24 games. A little bit more ice time and more points, which is nice. Hossa has only 5 points, but he is only playing on the fourth line, so it kind of makes sense. Yeah, he's not even averaging that much ice time. So Marcel Hossa is one of these guys that could be shopped, I think, eventually, but not sure when. And then right wing wise, we got Richard Park with 19 points, as well as Valerie Burres, so both those guys are playing pretty good. And then Bork has 15 points. Now he is listed as a sniper, but he's playing a little bit more like a playmaker. But I am still really liking how he's playing, which is pretty good for us. How did actually he play in Columbus? He had this much amount of points last year in 48 games, so this is also going to be probably a career year for him, I would assume. And then Bobrovsky, 10 points. I feel like our team is like kind of like a band of misfits to an extent, which is kind of neat. Malik, 11 points in 24 games. Brody, 6 points. Conley, 5 points in his first season so far. Pretty solid for an 18-year-old. 5 points for Martinez, and then Walls got 5 points, and Blugis has got 5. All of our defensemen, even though they're all pretty young, are plus. Like, the oldest defenseman on this team right now that's playing is 26 years old. So we are doing some good stuff, I think, with this team. And then Carey Price and Brian Elliott have both been pretty solid, especially Brian Elliott, though, with that 239 goals against average. But Price has been pretty good as well. I am liking that. Our young team is playing really well. I wish there was a way to check the average age without having to do a bunch of math, because I feel like we're probably one of the youngest teams in the NHL. Currently, let's see, we are one of the top 10 best teams in the league in terms of our record so far, and in goals for, we are one of the best offensive teams so far, which is kind of cool to see, considering how young we are. And in goals against wise, we are currently probably top 10, I would say. Power play looks like it's struggling a bit this year. Yeah, it's one of the worst power plays in the NHL. And then our penalty kill so far is probably around the mid-table with 82.4%. So if we're going to address anything, it would be probably our power play going into next episode. I'll take a look at the draft class quickly, just because if you guys want me to tank, maybe there is a reason we could tank. As there's a Swiss guy supposed to go first overall in Hudson Bonvie. Gustavo Garcia, interesting. Don't know if any of these guys are elite or if they're franchise or what, but this is what the draft class looks like. Oh, Jason Paul. I was hoping that would be like Jake Paul for some reason. That would have been pretty funny. Could have made a meme out of that player. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode. So in next episode, we might make some adjustments to our power play, and we'll probably sim more of the season, maybe up to the trade deadline. And yeah, hopefully this young team can continue the way they've started, because it's been way better than I've expected. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.